have a great, at this point, age 97, almost 100, and I've seen quite a lot in the process. When I went down to Washington, 1953, I went out in the back room where some of the staff fellows were gathered. I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "We're going to sell our stocks." A conservative Republican president was taking over, and surely everything would go to hell in a handbasket. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was 100.
Oh my God, it's hard to believe. Oh yeah, yeah.
When we left 8 years later, it was 350. And the boys had sold their stock and lost a little money.
And you didn't shed any tears about that, did you?
And I didn't think that was a terribly great accomplishment, but it was a plus. And but the whole attitude of the intellectual community was that it had not been a success. It had been an inactivist not do very much administration.
Oh, those 3 years or 4 years?
8 years. I wrote a book telling the story of the administration. And there was some tendency, even as I was getting to write that book, that the mood was shifting and that there was a greater appreciation of what General Eisenhower had tried to do. And in fact, I got to thinking early on about what I would use as a title for the book. And I wrote a note to some of my earlier colleagues and asked them what they thought might be a good title. I got not much response, but I did get response from one fella who had been a speechwriter. Bryce Harlow, great fellow, wonderful person. And he had a title. He had a suggestion. The title could be "Holy Mike." Mike was right.
You didn't go for that.
I couldn't do anything like that.
How about the constructive?
I gave it a different title. I called it, because he's cut it out. What are you doing? Because I thought this described the situation, I called it "Constructive Years."
Oh, that's
The
good
U.S.
title.
economy under Eisenhower.
That's good.
And now that was a big mistake.
Why?
Oh,
Well. You call it
if I
that?
had called it "Wasted Times,"
Right.
the U.S. economy under Eisenhower, sales would have plummeted.
I exploded.
Sword.
Yes.
The New York Times would have given you a good
And they would
review.
have, yes, that's right.
Anyway,
Sad but true.
I had have turned out a certain amount of stuff, and the interim from 1960, 65, 70s, 80s, 90s. And it was only a couple of years ago that I decided that I ought to sit down and write a little piece about Eisenhower's economic strategy. It's an odd thing. There's been an Eisenhower Institute all these years, and they've never lifted a finger really to tell the story of his economic strategy. They talk about Eisenhower and the bomb and nuclear power and all of this stuff, but they don't talk about how he felt about the economy. That was what he was interested in. Just before he died, couldn't have been more than a year before he died, I got a little note from him. He was up in Gettysburg. I had given a talk at a place somewhere out in Massachusetts, and I had some notes that I did in connection with this talk, and I sent him a copy of my notes. And he wrote back at once, telling me how much he liked it, that it was very much on his mind to do something describing what had been accomplished by his administration. And, well, came too late.
Yeah.
He died shortly afterwards. But I still continued to have a feeling that I needed to do something of this sort. And so I wrote a little piece called Eisenhower's Economic Strategy, promoting growth by creating conditions favorable to private initiative. And that was in essence
His strategy.
his whole strategy. And well, I've circulated it, and I had a chance to present it to a group up at Philadelphia about a year and a half ago.
No, 6 months ago. 6 months.
6 months ago.
Oh.
And oddly enough, I found very receptive
Oh,
audience.
good.
So I have this piece, and I want to give it some circulation. Just how I do that, I don't know, but I can somehow give it some circulation.
Email.
Can you send us
Peter, you
copies?
should get it typed up for him
Yeah.
and send it up.
Can you send us copies?
Sure.
Okay. Alice will help you.
Is it in his computer?
So it's been a
we
long
can send it to you.
history, and
Sure.
Oh,
there,
wouldn't take me long to put it on.
and
It's in mine, Alice.
Oh, really?
I don't know why. I don't know why. What Eisenhower. You see, when he came in as president, the federal government was rising relative to the rest of the economy. He was not going to try to turn that back, but he was going to try to stop the increase. And he thought that it has gone as far as it should go. And was successful in the end, in that respect. So if I had the strength to do it, I would like to write something serious about the economy today, because I'm very concerned about it. And I asked myself, knowing what Eisenhower was like, look, we sat for hours together talking about the economy, and he was deeply interested in it. And so I think I understand what was in his mind and how he reacted to things. He was no mystery. There was nothing unclear about his views. And I have thought that, well, it'd be nice to do something, but it takes a lot of energy to do these things.
Yeah.
And Doug Price here is putting some stuff together.
Yeah.
And Doug, we ought to have a session sometime soon.
Yes, Steve, and
If you come over at 4 o'clock and bring that stuff with you that you record.
Oh yeah. That
There are two subjects. One is one subject is that visit that I had with Eisenhower back when he was Chief of Staff of the Army.
January 28th,
Yeah.
1947
And
or 8.
there is that, and then there is this story of the fellows at Columbia who got out a paper attacking him when he got to run for president, and I had a hand in organizing a contrary effort.
response to them.
So, but we ought to do that.
Okay, now Steve, apropos of the economic history of the Eisenhower administration,
Well-
Gene Rosides has money and he wants to know what you need in the way of a research assistant.
Oh.
And he's got money.
I think the Eisenhower Institute, ought to organize a project that would take up piece by piece the story of the Eisenhower administration. Now, the highway system is well known, but it needs to be retold. His ideas on education. Eisenhower had very definite ideas of what the federal government ought to do to assist the educational system. It was not this common accepted view. And he wanted to keep government out of the classroom, period. That's what he was afraid of. He wanted to help education system, but he didn't want government messing around in the business of teaching. And so he would limit the assistance to construction.
But how else could we teach intelligent design?
And how, once the construction was over, he would leave.